Welcome, Mona Litsa.
It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. I'm always so stoked to see you.
Oh, it's an honor. It's been quite an experience this time too. So yeah.
And so you came out last night and performed some. Were those originals?
Original arrangements, yes.
Original arrangements,
yes, but no, they're basically songs. You know, a lot of them that people know, and I just reimagined them and shared. So.
Well, I was blown away by you last night, and so I'm really excited to dig into you as an artist a little bit more and let the world know more about you too.
Awesome, let's do it.
Let's go.
So you said that the songs that you chose last night, they were reimagined pieces. What inspired you to mash up the ones that you did last night for us?
These songs have just been showing up in my experience as I've been on my journey of healing. And for instance, the Imagine Me medley is a combination of Jill Scott's Golden, Bill Withers' Lovely Day, and Kirk Franklin's Imagine Me. And the whole idea is, imagine me living my life like it's golden, and it would be a lovely day. Like basically I'd have a grand time every day. This is what my life would be like, So that is just beginning to awaken my mind to the possibility that there could be more, for me besides, dealing with mental illness and depression and that kind of stuff. So I didn't want, I think when I realized that I wouldn't have to, through energy work and dealing with myself and my mind and the rewiring I've been going through, that I wouldn't have to live with that. I don't have to just deal with that all the time. So because of that, I've been excited, I've been hopeful, and a change in creative flow has happened. In my attitude, my quality of life is improving, all of it. So these songs have just been, I'm finding that there is something to be said about all of the music that that have defined moments in our lives. And then we reimagine them in the new space that we're in. That's the cool and the fun part of it, because it's like we can do anything. We make them part of our conversations because they are a part of us, and we just add another layer. So that's.
And so why did you pick those specific songs?
Oh, well, they have been, those songs have meant something to me, when I started learning them. So Kirk Franklin and his music is, something I have left over from my, a couple of chapters ago, when I used to be religious, and that he and his music is something his journey is something I've highly respected. And so, and that song particularly always gave me, was always a space where I can imagine things, something different, something new. And it didn't matter whether it was what they would call, or, sacred or secular or whatever it is. It's not that, it's words.
It's a message.
Yeah. It's me talking to you, and I used music to do it. Right. So it all becomes one soup and one references for a new kind of conversation, which is, I think that's what I feel like I want to concentrate on as an artist.
So you said something about having mental illness in the past. And then you also said something about being religious. I wonder if there was a connection to those.
Wow. Yes, you. That's lovely. You get mentally ill because you're religious.
But you want to go into that a little bit? What you meant by that?
Short story, just one of those things where raised in a very super conservative situation that I don't know, that just really trapped our thinking when it comes to life and everything. And it really, really made it didn't help because I was one of the children who bought the Kool-Aid hook, line, and sinker. I was like, I've got to do this. I've got
But
to.
you were real
please, I gotta-"
dedicated to it.
Yes,
too.
I drank it all. I was like, this
Yeah.
needed to happen, and heaven was something I was trying to go for because whatever. But it became, I didn't know that what I was being taught was this very sadistic personality who seemed to be just attention hungry.
Very egotistical. Yeah.
So, and
Really?
he needed the credit, the glory. He copyrights, everything because he gave you the breath you're breathing. He's just this narcissistic, dictator and sadist who says, "Oh, I give you the power of choice," but then
you
I
better
want you
choose
to-
me.
yeah, or else. And it, the words that we were used were brought up with, like love and, oh, it has to be about this or whatever it is. They were used to reprogram a very limited and unbalanced way of living. And it really fucked my, family up. So I'm like, and we were singing together when we were little, and it was just it was
So is
picture a lot of
the narrative that you were taught is
Yeah.
what fucked your family up? Is that what you're
yes,
saying?
yes, and of course there's that plus the personal baggage. So between those things, that's what that's the religious side, and I feel like I have been emancipated from it, and it's something I can walk away knowing that I could take the good that I've learned from it and then leave the rest behind, because I feel like like in a game, it's a level you won or you phased out of, you don't need it once you got it. So, yeah.
So we've just been graced with Alma from Alma Wellness, who we were just talking about. And look at this. She just brought us some tea. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Tea for
Thank you.
your heart chakra.
Heart chakra. That's exactly what we need right now. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I'll pour you up a cup.
It's those little random gifts of kindness that just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that. There's
Thank
so
you,
much
Alma.
nurturing around here. I feel so blessed.
Same.
It's a safe space.
And speaking of safe spaces, and kind of segueing from the talk about your religious background, going into your energy work that you mentioned earlier, the contrast with your language that I hear, where does that come from?
I think it's come from the healing that I've been going through. I'm just in a place where I've learned, or am learning, just to let go and just go with understanding that this journey not just takes time, but part of it is to be able to embrace the now and the moment and be able to flow with it. So that's what I've been doing. And I've this year actually is when I've started it seriously after my birthday. So, I've come this far. I can't, it's 2023. What the,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which
it's-
touches on the actual topic, which is we're in
Exactly.
Wolf Moon, Capricorn, and so I don't think we even mentioned this yet. But what we do is what we're planning for this podcast is to concentrate on the specific descriptors of the zodiac sign that we happen to be in on the full moon and the new moon. And right now we're in Capricorn, so that means that we're going to be talking about persistence and determination. It's also a wolf moon, so how that ties in, how does being a wolf, sometimes you're called a lone wolf, but sometimes you're part of a pack, like how does being a part of a team or being a loner impact your ability to persist, you know. And you have a story here that we're getting into about how basically the music that you chose was meaningful to you, and you were just trying to share that message with us with sound, with music. But it's meaningful to you because of what you've endured and what you've gone through. And I'd love to know a little bit more about that as I sip on this awesome tea. What kind of flavors do you know? Cheers.
Yes.
It's an amazing flavor.
It's an amazing flavor.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So
what's the question?
how did you carry on throughout up till now?
Music is what has been that safe space for me. Short story. It's just been that safe space for me to be able to explore myself, to explore my relationship with you know, the universe and with people around me. So I remember after graduating Boston, when I first came here, I remember having that conversation with the universe and saying, you know, I want my journey to be just my discovery between, I needed to change the focus because up till then it's only had, you know, this religious bent, and it was, you know, forced into that, and I was growing out of that. So I said, you know what, I need this to be a journey between, you know, me and him, and I would, you know, just go through it, and I just needed it to be something different, and that's exactly what happened. And
did it look the way that you thought it would?
No, it never did. And at that point, there was a lot that made me distrust the world that was around me. But I was ready at that time for something more, and so I let go into that. That's what brought me here to California, and then now I am letting go again into this, you know, journey, and it's helped quite a bit. Again, music has been instrumental in that. It was at a writing session with Bright and Swoop Brown that, especially Bright, she really, really just opened my eyes to myself, you know, where I actually saw for the first time that there was a difference between me as a person and the work that I was doing, as in, you know, or the creative work that I was doing. And I never saw myself apart from that, and never took the time to really understand or live life from that perspective. And part of the work was not just the energy work, but doing the rest. Like, oh, what do I like? Who is, you know, who am I? You know,
Yeah.
And it's still an ongoing process, and doing the energy work at the same time has done wonders for me as a person.
So yeah, let's
able to deliver that.
Let's talk about that. What is energy work to you? What does that mean? Because it means different things to different people.
I guess the whole idea of rewiring your brain and using the space and everything, every faculty that you've been given to live, to really, really live, not just, and to live abundantly, basically. So that's.
What are your practices? Like, what are some disciplines that you've found?
Yoga, meditation. I've been reading a whole lot and just basically those three, and then doing a lot of research, talking to people who have gone through this experience, trying to look into physics and chemistry.
That's been the most for me is talking to people, having conversations. When I was 18, I left my parents' house.
Okay.
Did I ever tell you the story? Probably not. But yeah, I basically I was in a Seventh-day Adventist background.
Okay.
And I was reared to become a pastor, basically.
Okay.
So I was baptized at 10. I was like church musician. I was junior deacon, you know, and I had this whole like path set for me to become a pastor. And then meanwhile, I was going to public school and I had this whole other persona.
Sure.
And I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be part of the world and everything. And I ended up, you know, obviously became like the most popular kid in school, whatever. But it was just, I was obviously in my heart creating a second personality, a second persona, you know?
Yeah.
And so by the time I got to the last years of high school, I was, you know, basically given the decision, which direction should I go? You know, should I really be serious about this pastor thing and really get into theology and really find God and kind of almost like renounce the world, or should I get more into the world and have a good time? How can I have both? You know, and when I turned 18, I decided that, you know, it was too much pressure, and I also was dealing with OCD. I was dealing with you know, pressures from home, and in a way, you know, my mom was kind of overbearing, and I hate to say it, but yeah, she was kind of directing my whole life, you know, so to speak. And so by the time I turned 18, I really was at a loss. I didn't really know who I was or how to stand on my own 2 feet. You know, my mom even did my own homework sometimes. You know, she signed me up for college without even asking me. So,
Wow.
like, at times, like, I really questioned my own credibility. And not even having a solid identity in who I was. So when I turned 18, I figured, you know what? I have to meet God. I have to. Like, there's no other way. So I was literally thinking like suicide or just give everything up and go into the wilderness like Moses and Jesus and all those guys, you know? And so what I did is I wrote up a will. I gave it to my parents, and I actually put it on the bed so they could find it later. And I decided, like, I want this to go to this person, I want this to go to this person, and eventually I just gave everything away, or directed them to give it away for me in my will. And so on a new moon, or it might have been a full moon actually, I gave everything away. I gave all my clothes away. I shaved my hair. I was extreme. And like I said, I had OCD too. So that was another factor that was stressing me out about things, you know? And so what I needed to do, the reason why I had this existential crisis was because I couldn't figure out who I was, where my identity was, and I didn't have any bearings. And that's because I wasn't able to break it down. Like, I didn't see where I was coming from. I didn't see like what I had control over at all. And so I think I was overcompensating with the OCD because I
You needed
didn't
some type of control somewhere.
I needed to control my life, but I didn't really understand all the variables of my life or who I was.
So what you did understand, you wanted to make sure was just how you.
I needed to break it down as simply as I could, minimize, become as natural as possible, and I just gave everything away, all my possessions, and I left naked. I think it was a full moon. It might have been a new moon. At like midnight into the wild. I just walked into the wilderness, and it was extreme, but it really paved the way for the rest of my life. Like, it allowed me to see exactly what I'm made of, you know. And in a manner of speaking, I think I did meet God through that process, you know. So it was actually a very like religious, spiritual experience for me to do that, and yet at the same time it forced me to completely question and re-question and re-look at everything that I was ever taught in public school and in church life, you know?
Sure.
So I think it's something that we all do go through. We all have these identity crises.
Sure.
And so when you said that, it made me think of my own, you know, my own journey.
Sure. Oh, that's incredible. That's quite a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get into mine next podcast.
Okay.
But both of your stories, it's kind of scary because it rings pretty close to home for me too. And yeah, we'll get into that later.
Sure.
But
if you want to.
I'm very grateful for you sharing with us.
Yeah.
And Ra, I feel like every time I hear you tell that story, it just drives home even more like the person that you are and like what you had to go through to become who you are.
And I've since then been able to, you know, stave off suicidal thoughts. I'm definitely regulating my OCD to a high degree.
Yeah.
I've found clarity. I find joy in everything. You know, like I see the beauty in everything. It's really amazing. Like what
That's what it's about.
Like what stripping away does.
Yeah.
You literally just have to start fresh. You have to get as minimum as possible, as natural as possible, and start fresh in a way that was my rite of passage. You know, that was my baptism. That was my rebirth.
Born again.
I was born again by getting rid of it all and starting fresh, you know. And so do you have any moments like that where you feel like you kind of had to just break down completely and start over?
Yes, for sure. I mean, we all have them. They've
Not all. Everybody doesn't have that.
We should
if they don't have it, it's coming.
But it's something that you have to, everybody faces. Everybody doesn't actually choose to go further for their self-exploration.
Yeah, exactly. So it is something that, right, everyone faces. Yes, I think I've faced at least a couple of health challenges that forced me to I need to face my demons and do something about this. It was a wake-up call I needed, not in the way I wanted it to, but you know. So one of them was getting these epilepsy or these seizures, and I started getting them randomly. I was not paying attention, but the first time I got them was in grad school and in Boston, 2013, and ended up in the hospital. And then a couple, I think 4 years ago, jeez, so long already. Yes, it, or 2019-ish, 2018, 2019, it just popped up again and worse, like a whole lot worse than before. And again, the wake-up call I needed, and it started things there. Like I started painting afterwards, you know, something I didn't do ever. So that helped me rediscover my love for music and any kind of will to live. So, and that helped me to get just enough energy to go to the next phase. And then from there, it led me to, you know, more songwriting, more experiences that I just opened myself up to and letting go. And from that, took me to that wonderful writing session, which, you know, ting. And then from there, you know, last year, my yoga teacher, she told me about Dr. Joe Dispenza and becoming supernatural and breaking the habit of being yourself. So they were a gift for my birthday. And I started reading it and I was fascinated. And I usually go crazy on research whenever I just go down the rabbit hole. So it's been such a process just trying to break, not just, it's another world I didn't know existed. I have such a bigger concept of everything now, including, the world and the universe and
Everything
myself
just became
and
bigger.
everybody's consciousness, and including especially the universe. I didn't realize how big and how vast and how massive and how impressive and how beautiful. And it, like in the past, calling it, because from my Christian background, the word God, now I feel a bit uncomfortable saying it because it doesn't represent to me everything I've known. It's like the essence to be in my life. I'm like, it's everything. It's all over the place, and we're made of the same stuff. So it's one of those things.
We're part of the same stuff.
Yeah. So I feel so much hope because of that. And yes, it took things like, seizures and, those kinds of events too that have me spinning, around. And, there's been several like that.
Did you ever feel like you were going to die?
Oh, yes. But you mean during the seizures or?
But in general.
I didn't care. I was passed out. I didn't know anything was going on. Yes, there were several times where I felt that. And again, it did not feel very good. But
you're here.
Yes, I'm on this side of it. I think that as I continue to heal, I am redefining my relationships with my scars and with the healing journey that is taking me there. And that is just transforming my creative flow, the magic I'm creating with, music and art. And I feel like that's what's next. That's what's now for me. So, yeah.
I feel like that's coming from a Christian background. And learning, like how you put it, the energy work. We're all like, from where my background was coming from, like it was always a carrot on the stick with heaven, right? And that's where your focus was supposed to be. Whereas that's taking us away from the present, right? And I feel like that's always
100%.
Been where the focus was supposed to be, was literally the gift, the present. And so now it's just like rewiring, like you said, to figure out how to stay present, right? And so how's that journey going for you?
That has evolved. I think I went from thinking about the past a lot to thinking about the future and trying to imagine, or I guess manifest what it is, to be, or manifest myself out of the situations I'm in, but then dealing with or healing from, or healing away from that place of lack into dealing with abundance. So it was a lot that I was taking on at once, I guess. And however, I did see that the universe was kind and I was still getting all kinds of stuff. And it's the relief that, just because you don't get it doesn't mean it stopped working for you. You know what I mean? So that's, it's been that kind of a journey. It's, it's been, and I think that's what this wolf moon has actually, brought back to mind in a way where it's become a new intention in a different kind of a way. So where I feel as though I'm learning that I need to take bite-sized pieces of what I want, of the reality that I'm trying to create, and then work on the journey, go through the process of letting that make me, the better human being I'm meant to be, because that's what it is. That's what I'm asking for, to use the mindset that has realized this thing that I've created to become that person. So I am trying to do that, but I can't be thinking about, that future. I can't be thinking about that future. I have to to be living in the now, you know? So if, for example, if I was playing a game and, you know, in order to pass that game, I needed a certain level of, you know, nuggets acquired or something like that, you know, and where I had to master a certain skill set, and I had to had a certain level of connection, you know, in order to unlock the next level, you know, whatever it is. How would I move my body? How would I live in this space right now, like today? And one of the things that comes to my mind is live in the present, you know, because I don't know where those moments are going, when those nuggets are going to come, you know. They may be lodged in the connection that I make, whether it's in perspective in life or in the connections I make with other human beings or with, you know, the earth or the universe or whatever. So that's where it is now for me. And in this year, my specific intent is to, in living in the now, being able to follow instinct, you know, and being able to, the follow through, to be not hesitating, just going for it, you know, and in service of that vision. And which is another affirmation or validation I got this wolf moon, or during this event, that reading that Alma
Gave us.
Yes, she mentioned that whole thing about how the mother says that following your instincts and following your gut is how she helps us, or, you know, to
That's the mother in us.
That's the
That's the
how,
divine mother in us.
and how that's how we allow help and assistance,
Because that's intuition.
Yeah,
Right? And that's
That's
literally it.
interesting.
yeah.
The
So,
heart.
yeah.
Is that the heart or is that the gut?
It's the gut.
That's the gut.
It's the gut.
Yeah. So again, another
Interesting.
kind of, that was an interesting little piece there, and I want to continue to, you know,
That's
to soak that up.
interesting.
So again, more, you know, validations, more synchronicities. But yeah.
I love what you were saying too about how heaven is placed over here. You know,
Yeah. And you
And
like,
but
as
that's the
long as you're
goal.
alive, you can't reach that
you
goal.
can't get there.
Right. So it takes you out. It literally takes you out of the present
Yeah.
for the rest of your life. Like you're chasing
Right.
this future that's never
To be perfect. So
Yeah.
what does that even mean to be perfect? First of all,
whoever tells you
yeah,
it's perfect.
yeah,
But that's the thing. You'll never get that validation here.
yeah.
So you're going to keep doing whatever it is they're telling you to do, whether that's paying tithes or following some structure, and you know, and like that works for establishments capitalistically.
Keeps the ball rolling. Keeps
But what
order.
is that doing to the souls?
Yeah,
You know, and this is why I'm here, because the work that is happening here is actually yielding fruit, which is what, again, we as kids reared up in Christian households were taught, like,
And the
you
fruits of
know
your
them
labor.
by their fruits.
Yeah,
But if you see barren all the time and they're saying, well, but that's fruit,
yeah,
then your whole idea of like what is right or what is like real is already skewed,
Yeah.
right?
and that's not
So-
to say that there's like Christianity is
No, not at all.
less,
Because as you can see, I'm using these
we're
references.
still using it to this day, right?
Yeah, and 100%, like Christ consciousness is where it's at.
Right.
I still believe that to this day. Christ consciousness is a consciousness that is for humanity and is for connection and unconditional love. I don't believe that the whole idea was for anybody to follow and worship any being, because that's idol worship. But the teachings that were supposed to be put into practice were, made to
Help you transcend.
help you transcend,
Yeah.
but man made it to
Fixated on it too much.
fixated on it and then made it give them money.
But
And-
but if you read it in a if you read it in a different way, where it's just you don't take it literal.
Mm-hmm.
I still find profound wisdom in
100%. Yep.
and in a lot of things too. But and that's the beauty of it, is you have to be able to train yourself to find the wisdom in
Right.
everything,
And
even the things you disagree in.
What do we disagree in though? Is that
Yeah.
that's a bigger question. Is
Right.
I feel like our disagreements really fall down to language.
Yeah,
And just, well, you call it this and I call it something else.
right. We only ever fight about our interpretations.
Yeah.
So it's always a semantic issue.
That's
There's
why
the-
understanding is so important, and being able to see past, those barriers.
Yeah.
When you heal, when you're going through that energy work, and you understand, okay, I was looking at this through my trauma and that perspective of these lenses, and once you heal that trauma, and your perspective is different, same words, same tone, but your view of it is different, and now you can love through words, because you understand the meaning behind the words, whether it's somebody else working through their trauma, or there's a message that was lost because you didn't hear it. And so that's what this work is about, is really just changing perspective.
And also, I think it's important to get that exposure to multiple interpretations, multiple mediums, multiple streams, because the more exposure you get, the more ways you can think about it.
Yeah,
Right.
Like,
for sure.
the message that you have, you shared it over through song, and there's so many different ways you can share the
Right.
same
Not
message.
the only one, yeah.
But that one is obviously, like, it was touching and it was beautiful, and it I think music is amazing. I mean, it really is it's mesmerizing. It can help you transcend
And
every
it's a
day. It's
universal
surreal.
language. It's a universal
and everyone
language.
feels it. So I love music, and I appreciate your art form. I appreciate
thank
your
you.
your
Thank you.
message.
Thank you for receiving.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I appreciate you.
I
You lost your hat over that.
I appreciate you too.
And so, are we wrapping up? We can edit this part out. That's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to wrap it up, or do you want to keep going? This is good.
Where are we at right now?
40
37?
minutes.
40 minutes.
We can go for another.
Plus 10 minutes of introduction.
Okay.
It's a separate file.
Okay. So let's go like 5 more minutes, maybe.
Well, we also could do a closing too.
Okay.
That might be good. How long do you want these podcasts? I mean, we
think-
always just cut them up into.
I think 40 minutes would be good. Honestly, 45 minutes.
Okay. We could always cut them up into segments too, and
Yeah.
have like 3 hours of content, and then just pull from those. I mean, but you like 40 minutes?
Yeah. For the podcast. Yeah.
Okay. So we're there then. We're basically at that mark.
Yeah.
So we could do a closing.
Okay.
Shall we have this chair empty again and you will be talking about her like she's not present?
Well, let's say goodbye to her.
Well, no, she's
or-
already here. Like, she's part of. You know
I mean,
what
I kind of do like that though. I kind of like having a closing with
Closing without...
starting with us and ending with us
Okay.
each
Yes.
time.
Okay.
I saw it on some shows. It's quite interesting looking. Like
Yeah.
You really conclude,
Where the
Right.
where
It creates
we
a
talk
illusion
about
that
it.
you're not there.
Do
That-
you feel like you got the conclusion that you want? Like, is there anything else that you want to share with everybody?
Well, obviously we got to still promote her stuff and tell her where they can find her and all.
Well,
that kind
yeah,
of
I
stuff.
just meant like, as far as your story goes, is there anything else?
Is there
or-
more you want to talk about?
No.
I feel like we could have you back as a guest again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you feel satisfied with that?
Yeah, if this is what you guys were going for the podcast, then
I loved it.
It was
but-
great. It was I felt like it was a natural ending,
okay.
and I feel like we can now talk about it more together. We could have our own segment about this,
Yeah.
like
So
as our
meaning-
closing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We could talk about what we just.
So we're gonna talk about you behind your back.
Yeah. Okay, wait, hold on. We got to still close you out though.
Yeah.
All right. So what was the last thing we said? You said something. So maybe you should then now say the next
What
part.
were you guys talking about? You were talking about. Hold on. Wait a minute, Rue. You're all over my girl. We're talking about.
Okay,
energy
so
words.
yeah, no, that was all good. I really appreciate. That's what I said. I said I
That
appreciate
you-
you.
oh, right.
Yeah, and then
Appreciate
your
you.
hat fell off. Yeah.
Right.
I appreciate you. Okay, next scene.
Right.
All right. So with that said, I mean, I do really enjoy your presence.
We definitely have to have you back on the show.
Yeah, we gotta have you back.
For
There's
sure.
so much more to talk about.
Yeah.
So limited time.
Of course, yeah.
But
Right.
we love your presence. We love your gifts. Where can people find more about you?
You can look me up on social media, Mona Litsa,
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram and TikTok, and you should get all the information from there. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was a good conversation. I feel like there's so much more depth to get into.
Right.
Yes.
I feel like I got
Right.
the surface,
We got
and
the
now
surface.
I need to know more.
I want to know more. So if you want to know more, look Mona Litsa up. Say that one more time. Where can they find you?
Mona Litsa on Instagram and TikTok.
Mona, that's MONA dot
Yeah, LITZA.
LITZA.
And that's not to say that like it was superficial. It was a very in-depth conversation, but
Yeah.
I can just tell that there's so much more.
Yeah.
Just knowing what we saw last night, your talent level, and like you said, you went to school, New England Conservatory, and yeah, like just we're gonna have you back.
We're gonna have to have you back. Yeah. And plus, this is just our first
Yeah.
podcast, so we're still warming up too. But and we do appreciate all of our listeners, all 5 of them.
Shout out to the fans.
And shout out to Sunset Grill.
Sunset Grill.
Is that what they're called? Yeah,
Yeah,
Sunset Grill.
on Sunset.
On Sunset in Hollywood. That was amazing. We literally would not be here right now if it wasn't for Sunset Grill last night, 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago.
Yeah. So we appreciate you, Sunset. Now, let's close it out.
All right.
Let's do like a little game or something. What can we
you wanna do a game?
Let's do some kind
Okay.
of closing game. Got any ideas?
2 lies and a truth.
Oh. Who's first? Or is it just on her?
No, it could be one of us, and then we can close with you. Or no, it should be the guest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So give us two lies and a truth.
I hate rainy weather. I am trying to think.
Hates rainy weather. And she's trying to think. Which one do you think is a lie?
Well, definitely, I can see it in her whole aura. She's thinking,
Yeah.
buffering.
Bluffing. Oh, yeah. Buffering.
Buffering.
Yeah.
Yes.
Loading.
Good Lord. Yes. I hate rainy weather.
I think she's purposely hesitating to make
Right.
it seem like it's a lie.
No, I'm just trying to think of anything, literally.
Okay,
anything
one
else.
lie and one truth.
I hate rainy weather and I'm trying to think.
Wow.
Okay. We established that.
Okay. I see what you did there.
Well, again,
And you? You?
are we doing this?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot it was just me. Okay.
right.
well,
you
I could
did
do
say
it.
it was a guest.
Yes, you did. I forgot.
We're going to edit that.
Okay.
But, okay, so that was great. Well, thank you so much. Yay.
It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
coming.
coming and sharing your journey with us. And we look forward to hearing new music and seeing new art. And
I'm glad that we
touch.
got to know a little bit more about you. So now that when I do listen to your music, I have all that, background.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
cool. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me.